everybody, I am Carrie, otherwise known as Colorado Knits. You can find me all the places as coloradoknits.net, Colorado Knits on Ravelry, Instagram, Twitter. My email is hello@coloradoknits.net. So thanks for joining me. Today is episode 3. It is Monday, February 9th. Yesterday was the Super Bowl, which in our household just meant a whole lot of eating a whole lot of food. And actually, I made so much food, we didn't even get to like 3 of the courses. So the good news is I don't have to cook tonight because I have a board meeting for my alumni association. So that's enough about that. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on in my life towards the end, because that's probably pretty boring for most of you, because it's fairly boring for me. And let's get into the content you all came for, the knitting. Let's see. I had a lot of time this past week, and so I managed to start and finish my February socks in literally 3 days, give or take. Also they were vanilla, so they were super easy, but here are a pair of socks from White Birch Fiber Arts. The colorway is The Good Die Young, and I got these from my friend Siri. I got the yarn from my friend Siri on her D-stash. It is just a vanilla sock with a fish lips kiss heel, very simple, and I do 20 rows of twisted rib, 1 by 1 at the top, and just a regular normal increase every other row toe. Whipped them out very quickly because I had a little extra time in the car and in a waiting room, and we'll discuss that later, but needless to say, 3 days for a sock is pretty good for me, and working. I actually did work most of those days too. So those are all done. And those may be my last pair of long socks for a while. And I will talk about that in my upcoming projects and my whips. The other project that I finished, though it depends on your definition of finished. Depends what the meaning of the word is. I did finish off the needles the cabled pocket shawl, which is from, I can't even remember right now. I mentioned it last week and I'll link to it in the show notes, but it is a long stole with cables, very basic, and then pockets. It has pockets. And I just have to sew the pocket top and sew the pocket back down, which is a finishing thing, and I do not care to finish things. That is why I make socks, because really there's only ever one seam on them. But I'm excited. It's for my friend who lives in Texas, and it is just for her to chill, or not chill, should I say, in while she is out in her backyard. And I think we're about the same height and it fits me perfectly, so I hope she enjoys it. It was a free pattern originally from Knit Picks called, I could tell you what it is called, but that would mean being organized. It is called, I'm sorry everyone, The Cabled Pocket Shawl and Headband by JoAnne Zoller Wagner. There's a picture of it, and there's a picture of me in it. So I'm excited to finish this and wrap it up in her 50th birthday box, which I am slowly constructing. I have till the first week in March to put it together, so I've got to go out shopping this weekend and buy her a couple of other things. I won't make her a lot because she lives in San Antonio and there's not a lot she'll wear down there. But I did the panels. It says do one panel, then do the other, then bind them or then connect them. I did them at the same time, so it felt like it was this ridiculous slog, but just did a simple 3 needle bind off there, and it's all done. And now that I look at it, I'm rather excited to maybe work on that tonight and sew down the pockets and get it done. Those are the only things I finished, but my friend is very into pink, and I say that as I'm wearing pink today. But I got her some socks too. She's really into flamingos and floral. She's like, is Lily Pulitzer and Vera Bradley centric. So these are super cute socks that, I don't know why I showed them to you like that I got at DSW the other day for her package. So I'm excited about that. Get that sent off early for her, because I imagine she's going to have a fun spring break. So those are the 2 things I finished. And like I said, I'll finish that tonight, probably after my board meeting. On the needles, I have a few things on the needles. My first is a hoe, actually, so I'm going to start with it because it's started and finished. And it is a legging slash leg warmer. And I used a pattern called Los Monos Locos, I think. And it's like Cookie A's monkey sock, but it has no pearls. And it's my favorite sock pattern if I'm going to do lace on a sock. And I just added an extra repeat and went up a couple of sizes in the needle and just threw a pattern together. And I love it, and it's kind of obnoxious, but it is so warm. I wear a lot of capri pants, and I wear capri pants, I think, because they're all that we have. My friend Jo had a whole post on her podcast about this. They're very stylish now to have cropped pants, but I'm also short, so everything is either super long or super short on me. So I don't find myself wearing long socks very often. I have 50 to 60 pairs of full length socks, and I rarely wear them. So I sort of feel like leggings slash leg warmers, not scrunchy 80s leg warmers, though those would be pretty comfy here in Colorado, or might be my new go-to. This is nice and taut on my calf, but not overly tight. So it's almost like a thicker sock, but I knit it 2 sizes up. I usually knit on a 0 and I knit this on a 2, and I usually do 64 stitches, and this is 80. So there's not a whole lot of magic to this pattern. It's a free pattern, and I'll link to that in the show notes as well. The pattern, not the pattern that I just threw together. My only regret on it is that I was too lazy to do a tubular bind off after the Super Bowl last night. And so I used knit through the back loop to keep it stretchy, but it's flaring out, which is fine because that's the larger part of my calf, but it's disappointing that it's flaring out, and I guess I'm gonna have to do a tubular bind off, which is kind of a pain, but it's so beautiful when it's done and it maintains its stretch. If you've done the Weekender sweater by Andrea Mowry? I don't know. No, that's not who does that one. But if you've done the Weekender, it has a tubular bind off, and they're so pretty, and so they're not hard. There's Kitchener in it, so if you hate Kitchener, you won't like it, but it doesn't flare, but it's also loose. And as a tight knitter, I need something like that. The other thing I might do is take a few rounds out and then start with fewer stitches and then do a couple of increase rows before I start, and do the same on the decrease up top. Before I do the ribbing, maybe take out 4 stitches just to make it a little more taut. But since I'm just throwing that pattern together, who knows? Other thing I am working on, oh, I did bring it. I have my pavement. I don't think I've made a lot of progress on this because all I'm doing is going round in it, and it's even inside out. I have, I've got needles for the sleeves, big boat neck opening, but it's sort of my mindless knitting, and I will be probably using it during meetings, because all it is round and round. I am making a huge dent in my first ball. So part of me is like, oh, I should probably start helically striping it, and that's gonna take up effort of finding another ball. Not hard to do, but also part of me says just go ahead and do the sleeves and get those done. So I might be working on those by next week. But that's just one of my ongoing projects. Usually I can whip one of those out in about 2 weeks, but I've obviously been working on other things. So that's what I'm working on. My next best laid plans, I have been in a major cozy up knits kind of mood. That's another video podcast with 4 Albertan sisters out of Canada. And it's a cute little podcast, and they've been enabling me on everything. They have a new sock recipe out called Cozy Up With Us Socks. And this picture won't do it justice, but this is, you can see it's striped. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that to focus. It doesn't really want to focus. But I'll link to it in the show notes. Each color stripe has a different texture on it. And so they have a bigger picture, but I do not have that bigger picture with me. So it keeps your socks interesting. It's like a 4-stitch simple pattern repeat that just makes the socks prettier. So I will be making those, but as I said, I will not be making them into long socks most likely. I am thinking they might be wristers. which is dangerous because they could get absolutely filthy when you see the yarn I'm going to use. But I just, like I said, no one sees my socks, and I knit at least one pair of long socks a month, sometimes two, sometimes more, as well as short socks. So I feel sort of in this conundrum of, do I really need to knit socks if I'm not wearing them? But I do need to knit socks because they are my favorite things in the whole wide world to knit. So I'm gonna figure that out, but I'm trying to think of other things like the leg warmers, leggings, the wristers. My office is very cold, so I could do that. I know I can do hats, but I don't like wearing hats except when I walk the dogs. And I am that person who really hates making hats. I know people are like, hats are so fun and they're great. I don't enjoy them that much. I try to enjoy them, but I don't enjoy them, which is really funny because I did a thing, and for some reason I signed up for a test knit for a hat for my acquaintance Carolyn McKenna. She has a new hat out called Star Signs, and I thought it was just super cute. And I can knit a hat in a day and a half and it'll be easy. And sure, I'll do a test knit, even though one of my resolutions was no more test knits. But the pom-pom just, I don't know, the pom-pom just sucked me in. It's a huge pom-pom on an average hat. So I will cast that on probably tonight and do the brim during my board meeting. I have to present at my board meeting, but at least it's all virtual, so it's easy to do. And I will get the brim knit, and then it's just a short pattern and regular decreases. So it's a star sign, so it is your zodiac sign. I'm not into really astrology, but it's a simple hat and it's a cute hat. And I'm thinking of making it with slightly lower contrast yarn just to make another hat because my dog has been getting into my hand knit hats. And my dog is apparently he's a pom-pom monster that he does not destroy my hats, but he takes the pom-poms off of every hat I have. I have a beautiful store-bought hat that I love that is it's a USA hockey hat. It's super cute, Fair Isle. And I was like, oh, he can't damage it. No big deal. The pom-pom's super tight. It's one of those ones that's like frayed with 10 trillion strings. Yeah, he pulled that pom-pom right apart. He took my pleasure rib hat, which I love. It's one of my favorite hats. And he chewed his second pom-pom off of that hat. I tend to buy the faux fur pom-poms that have an elastic, and I just put a button in the hat and put that through. The pom-pom is in fine shape. It just needs a little hand wash and blow dry to get Larry drool off of it. But he snapped the elastic, so now I have to sew on a ribbon. And did I mention that I hate finishing things? So like I'm looking at these ends that I have to weave in. And that is sewing on a ribbon to a pom-pom and threading it through and tying it. The threading through and tying, easy. The sewing, it's like 5 stitches. It is nothing, and yet I'm dreading doing it 100%. But I will do it because the blue pom-pom that he ate is just perfect. Again, he didn't eat it. He didn't ingest it. He just tore it apart and played with the pom-pom like it was a ball. He has not gotten to my other hats yet this year. He has a tendency to go through cycles, and right now he is enjoying my shoes. Never ruins anything, just likes to make enough damage to it to annoy the heck out of me. So those are what is in front of me. I mentioned I am on a Cozy Up Knits thing, like high. They have a shawl that was their mystery shawl for the year that is a 2-color. You can do, you can use mohair or just straight up two fingering weights together. And it is my sister's favorite things. And they described it and I was like, oh, I don't need a shawl. Don't need that. Don't need to fall into this. And then they revealed it on their podcast last week and I need to do it. I was going to do the inauguration celebration by Casapinka. And now I'm kind of thinking I might move and take those 2 colors that I have and use it for this shawl instead. I haven't done shawls for a while. I can't think of a shawl. I shouldn't say that because I finished the end of last year. I finished like 3 shawls, but I haven't knit one from scratch in a while because I've been getting them off of my needles. So I've kind of got an itch for a shawl, and since I finished my socks for February, I have time to do that. That is, I keep looking over at my table of tricks over here to see what's next. And I actually did write show notes. I don't know how well I am following them. Pretty good. The other thing that I am going to be casting on and looking through all of my acrylic worsted weight yarn for is goat sweaters. My friend is bringing several baby goats into the world, and she asked me to make sweaters. And I can't not make baby goat sweaters, because if you have not seen a baby goat in a sweater, you must, and I will insert some pictures here. They're just too cute. I do not plan to make these baby goats Fair Isle sweaters, because this is a friend, but not my best friend, and it's a goat. And so I don't know that I'd make a baby a Fair Isle sweater, nonetheless a baby goat. But I spent last week Googling all sorts of patterns for goat sweaters. We'll see if I do one and it's super fun and I want to make it more exciting. I will add in some Fair Isles. They're going to be little dwarf goats, so they're super tiny. And then the best part is I get to go up and dress the goats in the sweaters, hopefully get a video of that. And also she has a wallaby, and I have been wanting to meet this wallaby since I learned she had it. So he's super cute. His name is Welby, but she lives on a farm, and she's actually living off of her farm for an entire year, which is kind of cool. Nothing that she eats can come from outside her farm unless she barters with someone for something that they have completely grown on their farm. So she planned on giving up coffee for an entire year when she met someone who owns a tiny coffee plantation in Hawaii, and she has been able to barter for that. So it's kind of cool, but that's a total tangent. I will go up and visit her farm hopefully in a couple weeks and have lots of baby goat photos to share. So on to acquisitions. A couple of weeks ago on the Cozy Up Knits video podcast, Allie from Dye for You, EWE, up in Canada, released 2 colorways dedicated to the podcast. And of course I had to have both, because I haven't just bought so much yarn in the last month or two. I thought it wouldn't come till the end of the month. I ordered it in the beginning of January, mid-January. Figured, oh, it's coming from Canada. She has to dye it on demand. It's not going to come till the end of February, so it'll just be a birthday gift for me. It came early. Yay, Canada Post, but boo, Canada Post. So I got 2 colorways. This is Cozy Up With Us, and I showed the Cozy Up With Us socks, and this is what they were done on this exact same colorway. So it's about 3 rows of each color separated by the 3 rows of the sort of natural. It's not a bright white. And that's because it's not a bright white. I'm thinking, and it's superwash, I could make it into wristlets and just wash them the same as I wash my hats and everything else more often. So it is an 80-20, and it's pretty soft. It's 420 yards, so I know I could get a great pair of wristlets out of this, and then also a pair of shorty socks. So I think that's coming up very soon, as I mentioned. And then the other one I got was Cozy Up with JoJo. And JoJo is the 4 sisters' mom. She makes really super cute bags and quilts. She's an amazing sewist. And she makes quilts as well, but they have branded bags for their podcast. I did not order one of those. I do not need any more bags. And this has some sort of charcoal-y, it's a brown gray, not normally my color, but it's a brown gray. And looking forward to actually making leg warmers with that, because the pattern that was knit up by one of the sisters was a leg warmer pattern, which is what inspired me to make my leg warmer. So the sun is going away, so I'm going to mess with my light a little here and make it a little bit brighter in my office. The other yarn that I got was it's going to crinkle, I hate it, my Row 1 Carnival of Color minis. And this month, oh my gosh, you guys, this month, the last 2 months have been sort of a dark, I'm looking at them in my stash, sort of a dark, muted tones. And this, look at the other 5. Oh my Lord, eye-shockingly, searingly wonderful, bright colors. And I don't know what this could be. I could mix this with black and make a super cool maybe I will do that, make a habitation throw out of just this with the black. I think that would be super fun. Make longer rows, wider sections of the black, and then these colors, or something of the sort. So row 1, Carnival of Color Minis. This month's yarn is called Squish Socks. It's an 80-20, and you get 450 yards to 100 grams. Lindsay and Ryan are the owners of Threadhead Knits, and they are in Johnstown, Colorado. I will tell you that they find row 1, she's based out of California, but she keeps finding Colorado dyers that I've never heard of that I'm really excited about. Johnstown is just north of me, so that's kind of cool that they dye locally. So I'm going to start following them and seeing what they're doing, because these colors are just obscenely gorgeous. And I wonder if they make a navy, because a navy would be super fun. I'm really into, as I mentioned, ocean blue and navy right now. So those came. And I might put my subscription on pause. I'm spending a lot on yarn that I don't need. But then again, I'm always like, oh, it's just one little skein. It's not going to do anything. And I have a big birthday coming up in a couple of weeks. So, you know, I could use my birthday money for the year for that. Speaking of, I did get one other thing, and I have to share it because I'm a bag. I don't like to use the word addict because I'm smart enough not to spend money I don't have on bags, but I definitely enjoy a good handbag. And recently Dooney and Bourke has been having amazing sales, so I had to partake in them. I mentioned before I got a new iPad for Christmas from my whole family and from myself, and I've been using it for work a ton. Like, I love taking it. I use it as a secondary monitor when I'm building my website, doing all sorts of things, but I don't have the right bag for it. And I think knitters, you can relate to this. You have all sorts of speckly yarn, but it's not the right speckly yarn. And I have all sorts of Dooney bags and Coach bags and Vera Bradley bags, but not the right one for my iPad. So I did it. I pulled the trigger. There was a 50% off sale, and I had loyalty dollars for buying enough there, and I had a birthday bonus. So I got this super cute backpack slash tote. You can carry it either way. It's very simple. It's very open. There's not a whole lot of pockets in it. It's just like all of my other Dooney handbags. They have one zipper, one open pocket, and two little side pockets. What I love about it is two zippers that go all the way down, so you can open it super wide, and it perfectly fits in my iPad, my planner, my knockoff Apple Pencil, and some knitting. Oh, and my wallet. So I don't even have to bring my handbag if I don't want to bring my handbag to work. So those are all of my gluttonous things, and I don't feel that bad. Actually, you shouldn't feel bad. If you feel bad, then you shouldn't be buying things, but I'm not going to get into the psychology of that. My husband has recently invested in his passion for whiskey and rye. And he would order it when we're out, and, you know, you pay $15 for a cocktail or something. And he'd have one because we were driving home, and he's like, it's just ridiculous. I'm paying $15 for 1 ounce of vodka, 1.5 ounces of rye. And it's just not as much fun, because we're not going out with lots of friends because of COVID. It's just like the two of us hanging out watching sports at a bar, and our sports are all over, so there's nothing to watch. So, I bought him for Christmas, I bought him some whiskey, and I've just been helping him build his stash. And it's funny because on Facebook and in his little whiskey groups, they all call it a stash, which we all call our yarn a stash. And also I work in addiction, and that's what addicts call their heroin. It's their stash of heroin. So, but he has started spending money on whiskey, and he doesn't spend money on anything. Really, he doesn't have a lot of hobbies. He's not like me, and I'll go out and spend $35 on a skein of yarn or whatever, order some needles. He's just not into that. And now he started spending $50, $60 on a good bottle of liquor that's going to last him quite a while. And he's learned to remove the guilt from spending $50 or $60. And it's really nice to see because he's enjoying it. He has like one glass and he just goes all out. He makes a Manhattan, makes it absolutely beautiful. Or he really lets it breathe. And I do not care for whiskey or rye or scotch or bourbon, but they smell delicious when you let them breathe. So I'm buying him all the little things to go along with it. So I got him new ice cube trays. It's little things like that. So they have to be a sphere. Those are really hard to fill, though, I've learned. I bought him big blocks of ice. I bought him some nice crystal glasses. And our next investment for the living room will be, now that we have a huge TV and fireplace, as you saw last week, will be a bar cart. So he can display his liquor. And I'm totally fine with that. I mean, I just got a new case for my yarn, so he can have a case for his beer, or not his beer, his liquor. So that's been kind of fun to have him getting into that and enjoying it. And we joke about it because he'll come home and he'll chill and just relax, and I'll pour a cocktail. And it's one cocktail and he's like, "Do you think I'm an alcoholic?" I'm just like, I work with alcoholics, don't worry, you are not one. But we have a running joke about that. Circling back to his, why I had so much time this week, I guess we're getting into the personal stuff, so see ya if you don't want to hear me babble for a little bit. But my husband is an orthopedic mess. He is a physical therapist. He's an athletic trainer. He's worked in professional baseball. He's worked in high school, college, all the different levels. We met when we both worked in professional baseball. He proposed to me. I don't know why I'm ducking, but he proposed to me. I used to work for the Denver Nuggets. He proposed to me on the road at a Denver Nuggets game. That's the picture of it. So we've always been around sports and always been very active. Let's see, I could say he's had 7 surgeries on his knee. He has had 2 or 3 surgeries on his shoulder. He had 2 surgeries on his back, spinal fusions within the last, like, a year apart, 18 months apart, which really sucked. And then this past, I think it was October, he had a disc replacement in his neck, which was the scariest surgery we've had together. I think it's because it's his neck and it's so high up and it's so close to your central nervous system and your parasympathetic nervous system. But that was actually the easiest surgery of all of them. In part, his lumbar and his thoracic, well, he didn't have his thoracic, his lumbar and his sacral fusions. You have to support your whole body when you have lower back surgery, and your body's heavy. Your head's not that heavy. So whenever we go for follow-up appointments, he will have had this really low surgery, no brace, nothing. You can't really tell. Like, sometimes you'll have a cervical brace, or if you've had a lot of thoracic, you have a big tortoise shell around you. And all these other people would be walking in looking great, and he would be like, oh, kind of lumbering in. The back has healed, okay, comes and goes. But 8 years ago, he tore his labrum in his hip. And at that time he was in his early 50s, and they said, yeah, the next time anything happens, you're probably going to need a hip replacement. My husband's current job is with some of the top doctors in the Colorado area when it comes to knee and hip replacements. And it's time for him to have a hip replacement, and he is in complete and total denial of it. He worked out like he always does on Tuesdays. They're his day off, and he worked out and had a good day Tuesday and felt tired. And he's not even working out that much because he does have hip pain, he knows. And then he woke up Wednesday and had a hard time walking. And he went to work, and he gets his 10,000 steps in 8 hours without a problem, works at 10-hour days. He's escorting patients, he's standing, he's sitting, he's writing notes, he's doing all sorts of things. And he could not walk to his car after work last Wednesday. I almost literally had to go and pick him up. But he managed to walk out to his car. He could not go to work on Thursday. He stood up to take a shower, and he can't put any weight on his leg. So he knows a guy because he works for a guy. So we went down Thursday morning at 7 a.m. He scheduled himself an appointment with a surgeon before the clinic started. He texted him and said, hey, this happened. And the best part about my husband is that he thinks he's a good liar. And he's like, oh, I don't hurt at all. I'm okay. You know, everything's fine. And I'm like, you're just lying. I can totally see it. So he walked in, the surgeon walked in. And he's like, so I saw you limping yesterday. It's pretty bad, isn't it? And he's like, no. And he popped up the x-rays. And my husband's hip is just bone on bone. There's no space at all. Like normally there's this much space between the joint or the ball in the socket. There's nothing. It is a ball in a socket. And I looked at him like, yeah, you need that replaced right now. He had a cortisone shot before Christmas. So he can't have it replaced for another 6 weeks because he has to get all of that out of his system. I know far too much about this because this is what he has to tell patients every day. Or he has a 70% higher chance of infection. And I hear these nightmare stories about hip replacement infections from non-compliant patients and some compliant patients. So it was funny because I finally got to meet his boss. He's worked there for a year, but I've never met his surgeon. And this was not the circumstance under which I wished to meet his surgeon. But he's like, I'm telling you what I tell all of the patients that Bob sits in with me and hears all about. He's not doing any more damage, but my husband literally has been on crutches since I went Thursday. He drove because he can drive. Because it's his right hip, I believe, but he can drive just fine. So, and he hates when I drive. He used to be a driver's ed teacher, and I hate when I drive with him because he tells me that the intersections are clear. So he drove down, but it's 45 minutes from us. So I had an hour and a half of knitting, plus he had x-rays, plus he had the consult with the doctor. So I finished those socks on that day. But he is home. I seriously don't even know where this story is going, but he is home right now. He is working from home. I'm very thankful he has a job where he can actually work from home, even though he's patient facing. He is just on the phone with patients all day, and my dogs just chill next to him on the sofa, and he has no desire to use an office like what I'm in, or our extra bedroom that he could use as his own office. He just sits on the sofa, has CNN. When he has to call a patient, mutes CNN, and he is happy as can be. So now he's around the house an awful lot. Oh, I do know where this was circling back to. Obviously, I've said it several times, I work in addiction. I am the largest non-proponent, I guess that would be an opponent of opioids. I avoid them like a plague myself. I come from a family that has battled addiction. He hates opioids. They make him super sick, which I love. And so he doesn't want them. And his doctor, he has several doctors in the practice, his doctor will not prescribe opioids unless it's really, really bad. Which again, I really appreciate that. So he, there's nothing you can do to take away bone on bone pain except put something between the two bones. And drugs might make you not feel the pain, but not make you feel so well. So it was very funny because obviously the doctor wants Bob working because they have a great relationship, but he's like, you know, I could give you this, I could give you that. They gave him basically some anti-inflammatories that are non-addictive, non-opioid. But he's like, really, my advice to you, he's like, have a great glass of whiskey before bed, take 2 melatonin, and hopefully you'll be able to sleep. So he has been prescribed by his peer to buy good whiskey, which he of course ate up. And I was in the room. He's like, you heard that, right? You heard that. I'm like, yes, we can go buy you some fine whiskey. They exchange whiskey as gifts, the two of them. So it's kind of fun that he was able to laugh about that. So in about 6 weeks, the end of March, we'll be having a hip replacement in this house. And it can't be any worse than what we're dealing with now. He literally has to crutch everywhere he goes. We live in a 2-story house. It's not bad. He does 90% of his stuff downstairs. I mean, like I said, he can work downstairs. We have a bathroom, we have the full kitchen, we have the very nice TV and gas fireplace downstairs. So he is fine with it. I can run up here and escape and do my work up here. I have a loft up here if I want to watch podcasts or do something. And as you can see, I have a TV behind me in my knitting room, so I can just hang out in here. But it kind of sucks. Also, he is home a lot, which it interrupts my flow a little. I used to be able to just start my laundry whenever, but now I'm like, okay, what time are you showering so I can start the laundry? Little things like that. But if that's the worst of it, I will take it. So I am glad. I'm glad there's a cure for what he has. I'm glad that it is pain and not a systemic disease or something like that. So I'm going to take the bright side of that. But I'm going to tell you that the next 7 weeks are going to be very long. 6 weeks, I think, are going to be very, very long. So there will probably, the good thing is there won't be any more doctor's appointments. He can just see the doctor at work when he does go in, but he is taking a week off right now. The other good news, I got a tax return refund. I got a tax refund. It's not huge, but it will pay our housing for the month. So he can take a month off of work, even though I'm sure he will only take a week and a half because he is that type of person. And we don't have to worry about a loss of income. So I had earmarked in my head so many things I was going to do with that $3,000 refund. But I would rather just be able to pay all of my expenses for a month and have him sit on his butt and heal and not have to worry about that. So best laid plans, man, always. But the IRS accepts tax returns starting Friday. I have already filed, and hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll have a refund and that will go straight in our savings account. Here's my pro tip. If you're getting a big refund, you need to change your tax withholding. If you get more than $2,000, then talk to a financial expert because you shouldn't be loaning the federal government any money. We usually get about $2,000 and it's always just used as we give each of us $1,000 to do with whatever we want. And there's no restrictions on it. And we feel like over 52 weeks, $1,000, that's fine. It's $20 each that we have basically put in a interest-free savings. But seriously, if you are getting back $10,000, we need to talk because you should not be getting back $10,000. If you have a bunch of earned income tax credits or something, then great. But still, don't loan the government your money. So that's my tirade there. I think you guys know where I am politically, but just don't loan the government your money. They have enough. They don't need yours. So loving and leaving. I'm going to start with leaving, and I'm going to do what everyone says. It's COVID. So my 50th birthday is coming up in 3 weeks. And my husband, the not good liar, was trying to plan a surprise party for me. My sister was going to come to town. She was going to bring my niece, who's moving back from California back to Florida, I guess. And she was going to fly out to California and drive back and celebrate my birthday with me, both of them. I had friends who were going to meet me, and it was really cute because my husband tried to reach out to all of my friends. He tried it on Facebook. We don't have mutual friend groups. Like, he's not friends with my knitting friends. He's not friends with you guys. He doesn't know you. So it was really cute. But with COVID, he couldn't find a place to host my party. And the fact that it's the end of February, we don't know what the weather's going to be. So our friend is a brewer and part owner of a brewery, and she's like, yeah, you can totally have it. You can have it inside here. And then the other owner was like, oh, let me talk to the party planner. And the party planner's like, oh, no, you can't have it inside here. No, because that's, yeah, no. So we didn't want to put our friend in a bad position, so he couldn't go there. My other favorite brewery was like, oh, that's Dominican Republic Independence Day or something. And so we're having a big celebration. It's a Latin brewery. We're going to have a big celebration. So no. And I'm like, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So he expressed his frustration. I am an event planner. And so I could see something was going on. And he finally just, between all the pain he was in and everything else, he just like, I can't plan a birthday party for you. So that kind of sucks because we can't just like go somewhere and get a private room. I have a friend who's a chef at a local restaurant. I would just love to have their back room. But with COVID, my friends don't want to necessarily, those who aren't vaccinated are a little worried about coming. My parents won't come. You know, it just isn't the right time. So I'm going to do 50.5. And it'll be in August, and it'll be fun, and it will be warm, and I will sit out on a patio somewhere or something. And the same things apply. There will be lots of food and some beer. So 50.5 sounds fine to me. And as my friend said, she's like, well, remember when we were little, half birthdays were like the thing. Also, it's an arbitrary number for me. I know my husband's like, oh, you only turned 50 once. You have to make it a big deal. Mine, for his birthday, we flew out to California and we had this incredible weekend, just partying and having fun and visiting all our favorite places. And it was like 100 degrees in November, and we went swimming and surfing in November. That is not going to be the case in February in Colorado. It was 8 degrees when I got up this morning. I don't think suddenly we're going to have this late winter break in the end of February. So that I am leaving COVID. I am done. I literally just got a text from my mom while I was recording. I got her signed up for her vaccine on the wait list. She's 85, 4, something like that. And she can't seem to find a vaccine. She is allergic to bees and she has horrific anaphylactic reactions. So I want to be with her. When I said this last week, I want to be with her. And I got her signed up for the wait list at Kaiser. So hopefully next week she will be able to get that vaccine. But COVID can just go now. We've had enough. I am wearing my mask everywhere I go. I have my vaccine in 2 weeks. Let's just get this done. So if you get the chance to get a vaccine, wonderful. If your kids are back in school, great. I hope they are doing well. I hope they're happy. I hope you appreciate your teachers a little bit more. We drove by this morning on our way to the hospital so I could pick up work for my husband to bring home. We drove by the school in our neighborhood and they were doing student drop off and the line was just obscene. The line was like around the block and he's like, what is going on? I'm like, student drop off. He's like, yeah, but why is it taking so long? Can't they just get out and walk? And I had to remind him that at schools, they're taking their temperatures and doing all the symptom checking every single day. So the parents have to stay in the car in case the kid has a fever or whatever. But I'm so glad to see them back in school. It's wonderful to see them. I can literally hear them from my house when they're out playing on recess. So that's the good news. So leaving COVID, loving. I have gotten into editing videos. I will not edit this video. I've added some pictures and stuff. I probably won't put in music and do all that, but I am working on a project for my alumni association where we did little vignettes of our scholarship recipients. And I have been able to take pictures of our campus and our notable landmarks around the Flatirons at University of Colorado at Boulder and put in our logo and drop in some music and then do a great story that's just like I said, a 1 minute of someone saying, thanks for the scholarship. I'm studying this and I really appreciate it. And without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. And thank you. I look forward to graduating. And I had so much fun editing. My degree is in broadcast production and I haven't edited in almost 30 years and I love it. I'm so old that these easy to use editing software is not easy for me to use at all. I'm used to the much harder things. So it's a learning curve and I keep telling everybody, but I'm old now, so I have to use my brain. It's better that I'm using my brain and you should always be learning. So I've totally gotten into that and it's fun. And also that I'm kind of going back to work. I'm going in tomorrow to record a video with a professional editor, not me, of one of our alumni. And I'm so excited because I'm like, give me photos of when you were little. Like nobody plans on being a drug addict, but I bet you were the cutest little boy. Like, do you have pictures of that? And then pictures of your kids as kids. And then he's been sober for several years and he's just a sweetheart. He's just this big burly guy from Oklahoma and I'm so excited to tell his story and create some empathy. So I'm excited to get to go into my office. I'm going to do a Facebook Live for our 45th year. I hate those. They do not increase our engagement for work, but my boss likes them. So I'm going to do one of those this week and I just get to see my residents. And as much as I love working from home and I am in joggers and a sweatshirt and I didn't even wear any hand knits today, I am pretty excited to go back to work and see people and just get in a little bit more of a groove. I'm hoping to start going in Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays. Monday is still sort of an admin day where I can record my podcast and just chill at home. Tuesday, my husband is off work. I should probably start going into work on Tuesdays. But it's we're able to do some things like medical paperwork and stuff on that day. So I am loving my job. I'm loving my life. I hope COVID goes away soon. And that's about it. I'd love to hear from you. Any ideas on 50th birthday, what I should do now that I'm probably going to have some friends at a brewery, but it's not going to be a party. But I'm really thinking I just want to take a weekend and just run away. Me, the dogs, my husband, he will hate it, but it's my birthday. And be just like chill in a cabin where I knit and I read and I have my dogs and we don't hike and he won't be hiking obviously, but just going away for a couple days and getting out of our house. Because I think everybody's been in their house an awful lot. So I'm thinking about Airbnb-ing that. But if you have ideas on some yarn I should treat myself to for my birthday, let me know, or any cool projects that are sort of capstone projects when you turn into an old lady, you turn into a pumpkin. That's it. So thank you for joining me. I really thought this was going to be 30 minutes. It is now at 44 minutes, so I apologize. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're enjoying your knitting. I am hoping to get a Discord server or something up so we can chat a little bit more. I'm not going to do a Ravelry group because I just can't endorse Ravelry right now, but please comment below and we'll have a little chat here. So I hope everything goes well. I hope you continue to stay positive and test negative, and take care, and I will talk to you hopefully in another week.